Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, we're only going to cover two things in this video today. Number one is going to be Harry's obvious mental health issues, which include anxiety, which we already know he has. He's admitted that he has it. But I also think, and this is just my opinion, that he might be bipolar, with the ups and the downs. The other thing we're going to cover is my husband has finally agreed to let me show you a picture of him, although it's an older picture, but okay, he finally agreed, so we're just going to run with that, okay? So let's jump in with both feet and get going today, shall we? Let's go. We are starting off again this morning with another Paddington bear. I love these. If you guys have them, just keep sending them. This bear was given to my subscriber by their daughter, probably, she said, about 30 years ago. And she absolutely loves her bear. I love it too. All right, let's move on. All right, I want to reiterate that this is just my opinion, okay, you guys? I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or, any of those things. I'm just looking at these photos and giving my opinion. All right, seems to me that, that we already know that Harry was a very angry young man, as you can see from the photos. I happen to believe part of his problem was that he was jealous of William and Catherine's relationship. I think he always wanted to get married, and these girlfriends, was it Cressida that said that Harry was paranoid and saw paparazzi everywhere, and she knew very early on that marrying him would be a mistake. And I think Harry wanted to get married and no girl would take him on with his psychological problems. I'm beginning to wonder, and again, just my opinion, if maybe Harry doesn't have bipolar disorder, because one minute he's up, the next minute he's down. You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to get with him. And I think marrying Meghan just exasperated his medical problems, made it worse. You know what I'm saying? He didn't marry somebody who would help him. He married somebody that made his mental issues worse. And here's some examples. Here's a video of Harry at a church service. Look at that look on his face. Because I think he realized he might have made a mistake with Meghan, but it's too far. It's gone too far. He can't get out of it. You know what I'm saying? He's stuck. Here's Harry on a tour with Meghan not long after they were married. He looks really upset and miserable. And who can forget this one? How about this from 2018? Now, what's going on in this clip you're about to see is Meghan is staring at Harry like, come on, Harry, introduce me, Harry. Harry continues to have conversations with these people. And at some point, Meghan says, that's it. And she steps right in front of Harry, cuts him off, introduces herself, and starts having conversations. Now, while this is going on, look at Harry. He wipes his nose. Again, I told you he does that when he's nervous. Puts his hands together and stands there looking like a lost little kid. This is part of his social anxiety that he's got going. At some point, the guy on the left of Harry, as you're facing him, steps in and effectively cuts Harry out of the circle. Now, Harry's not going to say anything to her because I think he's terrified that if he does, she'll leave, and she's the first person who's ever agreed to marry him. So he's knuckling under. Just watch this. All right, next up, it was Eugenie's wedding, and Harry asked Meghan a question, and she was irritated because he interrupted her. So she tells him off on camera. She rolls her eyes at him. He sits back, rubs his nose. Remember I said that's one of the things he does. Fiddles with his clothing and sits back looking like a chastised child. Watch this. Who can forget this? This is the night that Meghan told Harry that she wanted to kill herself, but she wasn't going to go through with it because she knows how much loss Harry has already suffered. She was also, by the way, about the same amount pregnant that Diana was when she threw herself down the steps. Anyway, Meghan looks fine. Harry looks like a deer in the headlights. He looks like he's been hit by a truck, and once again, he's fiddling with his clothing. That's what he does when he's nervous. Watch this. How about this incident? This is the only time that I have ever seen Harry show any gumption where he might have said something to her and tried to control her movements. Remember, she was being disrespectful. The UK anthem was getting ready to play and she refused to face forward. Watch this. Who can forget this? They returned from Canada for the Commonwealth Service. Everybody was told to wear a certain color. Meghan wore green. And throughout the whole thing, Harry looked absolutely miserable and angry and just looked at one point like he wanted to throttle Meghan. Watch this. So from the time he walked in until the time he walked out, we've all seen the pictures, he looked miserable, unhappy, and everybody's blaming that on the family instead of on Meghan. All right, let's move on. How about the Oprah interview when Meghan told everybody that they were married in the backyard with the Archbishop of Canterbury, something which we found out later on was untrue. But did you guys notice Harry's face? I mean, he knew she was lying, but he didn't want to contradict her. Watch this. How about the Diana statue unveiling? You guys remember that? Harry walked in fiddling with his tie again, looking extremely uncomfortable. And he walked around with this, he tried to smile and act like everything was fine. This is when I think, I told you bipolar lows and highs. This is when I think he was on a high. And the reason I'm saying that is right after they ripped the cover off of the statue, this was Harry's behavior. Very odd for such a solemn occasion. You know what I'm saying? Then they go walking around the lake. Harry is once again fiddling with his clothing. He's fiddling with his wedding ring. And then he does the one thing that, remember, this is all during COVID. He wipes his nose. And then a minute later, he goes over and shakes somebody's hand. Ay, ay, ay. How about Harry pushing Spotify while his grandfather was dying? I think you can see from his face that he was definitely on a low when this was going on. And in these videos where Meghan is talking, all you can do is look at Harry's face. I think this is when he's on one of his lows. He's not happy. He's just sitting there like a deer in the headlights while Meghan runs her mouth. I don't think he knows what to do at this point. I think she's so overwhelmed him, which can be difficult for people with bipolar disorder. I think he's just absolutely stunned and doesn't know what to say or do at this time. Here he is in California riding his bike around. You would think he would be happy. He's in California. He's loving his life there. But look at his face. Now we have the church service. You can see from the look on his face walking in, people were staring daggers at him and he knew it. His facial expressions were quite odd at times, and of course he was fidgeting. Watch this. And then his behavior, once again, was inappropriate. This is what I'm talking about. This is like when you're on a bipolar high. Look at the guy. This is completely inappropriate behavior for the church. Now, coming out, he heard the booing, which is what stopped him in his tracks. But watch what he does at the top of the steps. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Watch this. So Harry comes out, the two gentlemen on the right are blatantly ignoring him, the gentleman on the left is ignoring him, and he looks at Zara, and he tries to start a conversation, and he does this funky, like, dance jig thing. Look at this. I mean, like, it's the oddest behavior. And then he becomes hyper-focused on the car. Is that my car? Is that it? Should we go now? What should we do, Megan? Should we go? I mean, I'm telling you, this guy has some serious psychological problems. I think when Meghan married him, she thought, I'm marrying into the royal family. I'm going to be a princess, blah, blah, blah. I don't think she realized how many psychological issues Harry has. I think she is carrying the relationship, if that makes any sense. She's always smiling. She's always, at one point in the church, she said to him, you'll be fine. The lip reader said she's constantly, it's like having a third child in the house. And that's why I'm saying I don't think this relationship's going to last, because at some point she's going to look at him and go, I can't do this anymore. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my opinion. All right, total change of topic. People have been asking what my husband looks like, and he has finally agreed to let me put some photos up, but these are photos from like 30-something years ago, so I guess he feels like it's no big deal. Anyway, these first two photos were taken in his mid and late 20s. This photo was taken right after we announced our engagement to his family. Here we are outside the church in Germany. Look at the size of those doors. They're huge. And inside the church, I apologize for the glare, but there was just no way to take a picture in the frame without the glare, and I couldn't take the picture out, but it was a gorgeous church. And this is one of those pre-wedding shots, where you do the hair, the makeup, the dress, and you take the photos, and then, because on your wedding day, there's just no way in hell you can get them. And this photo is a minimum of 15 years old, if not older. Most of you who saw the live that I did online know that I stopped dyeing my hair. Once you reach your 50s, I was in my late 30s, early 40s in this photo. Once you reach your late 50s, there's no point in dyeing. Everybody knows your hair is gray. And I got sick of it. Anyway, that's the most current photo of us that my husband will allow. There you go. And he's still a bit of beefcake. I'm also going to include these pictures of my two boys because these pictures are 16 years old. They're now both grown adults. One is graduating college. One is 1 year into college. So I don't think you can identify them from these photos. But as you can see, one child looks just like my husband with blonde hair and green eyes. And the other child looks just like me with black hair and brown eyes. They're the his and her kids. All right, I am ending today's video with this gorgeous picture of my hubby, Beefcake Man. I want your opinion. Do you guys think, we know Harry has anxiety. He's already admitted to a drug and alcohol problem, but do you guys think he might also be bipolar? Do you think there's more going on with him than just anxiety? Like maybe there's depression, and it just seems to me that he's up, down, up, down. You never know what you're going to get with him. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 minute in the church, he was angry. The next minute, he's dancing a jig on the church steps. It's just so odd. So make sure to leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and make sure that you're still subscribed, okay? Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. And for those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.